In this video, I'm going to give you my updated free hit side for Game Week 30. Let's take a look. Hi Fantasy Managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. So in this video I'm going to go through my Game Week 30 free hit side. Initially when I put this draft out on Saturday, I was 90% sure I wasn't going to free hit. Things have happened since then. I've had the Digne injury, Huang's gone off, Salah blah blah blah, Breuer coming on and off. Had a bit of a mare, obviously Reece James injuries happened in the meantime. So all sorts of things have happened and I'm now probably 60-40 not going to hit. But there's still games to go on, so that could change. So I've taken definitely a more of an acute interest in how this free hit shapes up. There's been some changes, so if you missed the last one, don't worry. We'll go through them all. We'll have a look at what we would think the reasons are free hitting. Is there enough benefit in doing it? How many players to get up? Is it worth taking hits? Which players should we bring in if we're not free hitting? All of that good stuff. So remember, hit that like button. Put any comments down below. Love to hear from you guys. And hit that subscribe button. We want to get to 1,000 by the end of the season. In the meantime, let's have a look. On screen then we have the fixtures for Game Week 30. Only 4 fixtures going ahead. We've known that since Game Week 28. Some people have been planning in advance, knowing they're going to free hit or trying to muddle through and get 10, 11 players out for these 4 fixtures. I'm going to have a look at reason why we should be free hitting. I'm in a position where I try to use my wildcard on 28 to try and negotiate 30, saving 2 free hits. Bearing in mind that some of us will only have 1 free hit or 2 free hits, you might be in different positions. Game Week 33 promises to be a nice looking double game week. We've got to wait for confirmation of all of these things. Double Game Week 36 suggests and promises again to be one of the biggest of the season, but there'll also be doubles in 37. We're looking at the fixtures now in 30. Are they tempting enough to get on board of? I'm not sure. We'll have a look at that. Is there enough upside in what I can potentially earn in points wise to free hit in 30 as opposed to 33 or 36? Would I be better off taking hits? We'll have a look at that a bit later on. My position at the moment is I can potentially get 8 players out. I'm potentially going to take hits. Is that better than taking a free hit? We'll have a look. How many players can you get out? That's going to be crucial as well. But let's have a look at those fixtures once again. Wolves Leeds, you wouldn't say are in great form. They obviously won their last game, but it was at home to Norwich. Lost the last couple of games before that. Not exactly free-flowing. Bamford's back, though. Wolves in decent form. Tough nut to crack at Molineux. Then you got Arsenal, Villa. That promises to be quite a tight game. Leicester, heavy rotation. And it's just such a small pool of players, I think, to choose from. Spurs at home to West Ham, again, promises to be quite a tight game, you would have thought. Lack of attractive fixtures, I'd say that I wouldn't say that these are unattractive fixtures, but that's the wrong word. But there's no real one-sided game. I mean, in normal circumstances, you'll possibly say Leicester at home to Brentford, but Leicester, one eye on that Europa Conference now. Rotation was clear against Arsenal the other day. Brentford on a bit of form. I'm not sure that's going to be quite the one-sided game you'd like. So there's no particular team that you look at to target. Spurs just seem to be Jekyll and Hyde. Arsenal away at Villa. Arsenal great form, but away at Villa, tough game. And then Leeds obviously fighting for their lives against a Wolves. Difficult. It's very difficult. And as we said, that Leicester rotation really sort of puts me off some of their players. And I think that'll be reflected in this sort of the free hit draft that I've put together, the updated version that you'll see in a second. So for me, I wondered if I only got 8 or 9 players out, which is I'm in that position right now, as opposed to someone who's free hitting, and I'm looking at this side that I put together, how many points am I losing out on? Hard to say, but I don't think there's many points. There's no one out there that I think, well, I can't go this week without that. There's not a Salah with a great fixture that I just think I'm going to get rolled over. You just don't know what happened to Jimenez, Huang. Someone might hit a hat-trick. Coutinho again. Someone that just might go mad. But I don't know. Am I better off waiting for those bigger double game weeks? And now I can really make more of an impact. That's the way I'm swaying at the moment. But let's have a look at this free hit side and then have a look at the position I'm in and have a look at how hits and teams to target for hits would be affected. So in goal, I'm stuck with Saar 5.3. Yes, I totally agree that we got the budget. Let's go for a backup keeper. You can only play one, but we got the money, so it doesn't make any sense not to. I just don't see any reason why Sarr wouldn't play. I think I would pick Sarr over Schmeichel. It's a tough call. Either way, I certainly wouldn't blame you if you went the other way round. I don't think of any of the other fixtures as any other keeper that I would back. I think Sarr's potentially got the best chance of getting a clean sheet. Then I'd say Schmeichel, but I think there's a lot in that. Sarr's only conceding 1.4 goals a game, 4 points on average. Schmeichel, despite being such a great keeper, is 1.8 goals he's conceding every game. Just not really done it so far this season. Leicester just seem to be shipping goals left, right and centre. Then we have Tierney in defence and Matty Cash. Matty Cash has been on form. Was initially looking at Digne, but obviously he's come up against some injuries, hamstring, so we're not sure how long he'll be out for. But those two teams playing against each other, that's a problem as well. I think with such few games, you've got a lot of teams clashing and playing against each other. Cresswell, set pieces, I'm not holding high hopes that he'll get a clean sheet against Tottenham. But again, away from home, he could get some sort of attacking return. Then I've gone Thomas. He's playing a lot of games, and again, we'll look at his XGI in a minute, but he's not particularly attacking, but he is more so than perhaps a Marty or a Soyuncu. 4.3, again, I think I'd have him, but I'd need to look at those press conferences in order to see he's playing. And then Connor Cody scored last week. I just think he's on the... Again, not expecting any sort of attacking return from him, but I just think he's nailed on that Wolves defence and will play. So 4.8 for Cody. Looking at some of their attacking returns then, let's have a look at Tierney. 0.1. Really surprised how low it was. I think out of all the Arsenal players there defensively, Gabriel possibly I have to have a look at him, but I think Tierney from the eye test just seems to have a much better XGI. Matty Cash obviously scored the other week, gets an assist. 0.16. I think defensively they look good as well. He's definitely coming in there. Cresswell, same as Cash there, almost mirrors his figures, but he is on set pieces as well, Cresswell. Then Thomas, they are conceding more goals, but they are at home to Brentford. XGI 0.09, not again wildly exciting, and again Cody not as well, but not conceding many goals. At home to Leeds, good chance for a clean sheet. So that would be my back five. I'm doubling up on Wolves defence, otherwise I'm spreading my defensive sort of cover across quite a few teams there. Going into that midfield section, then we've got Saka, we've got Maddison. Maddison's one I'll have a look at and talk a little bit later on. Saka's an absolute must for me at the moment. He did hobble off against Liverpool, but I've heard no injuries. Any sort of confirmation about injuries. He took a heavy tackle, came off. I think they were preparing him to come off anyway. They just took no precautions, no risks with him whatsoever. We'll just need to check with that Liverpool game coming up tomorrow night whether or not he's okay. So Maddison, yes, I think he comes in. Again, we'll need to check to make sure he's definitely going to play. Absolute non-negotiable, it's going to be Heung-min Son. Rafinha, everything going through Leeds. Rafinha again, hopefully still on pens, even though Bamford's back. It's taken a couple since Bamford's been out, and he's scored both. Have to keep an eye on that situation. And I think Coutinho, again, we're lacking a lot of premium options with a lot of big sides not playing. But Coutinho just seems like a standout to me. He's got to come in at 7.4. So having a look at the XGIs, 29 points for Saka over the last 5 games. He's done really well. 8 goals, 6 assists. Then we have Maddison. He's not getting the same sort of minutes as Saka, but again, if he's playing at home to Brentford, he has to play. 0.42, 6.7 million. Again, money's not too much an option with this side. Son, I'm not going to go into any great detail. He's just an absolute clear and obvious nailed-on pick. 6.66. Rafinha 0.52, still a good expected goal rub, considering the struggles they've had this season. Rafinha, total line, 9 goals, 2 assists, that's still really impressive. And then Coutinho, we know how effective he's been in the last few weeks. And again, he's outscoring a lot of the other players there. 36 points, 7.4, even outscoring Son. Villa been playing well, so again, he comes in, no-brainer. Up front then, I just think, clearly and obvious, we've got to have Kane. Lacazette comes in as well. On pens for Arsenal, nailed up front. Again, difficult fixture away at Villa, but I think he's got to be the one that brings in. And then your third striker as well. I'm going to go Jimenez. Hwang, possibly an injury doubt. He came off early against Everton. So Jimenez, you would have thought, he'd have rested a week, come back in, he scored. I think he plays at home to Leeds on pens as well. The problem you're probably going to have is you've got too many assets, but I think, as comments were on a previous video, I think you're right with COVID. I think you need to have extra cover and just rotation. You just don't know who's going to play and who isn't. You just need the cover on a bench, and you've got the money to have it. So why not have it there? 41 points in the last 5 games. We talk about Kane not having the best season, but still his XG is really good. 10 goals, 3 assists. Probably would have expected more than that at the start of the season, but he's still up there with one of the highest scoring points in the last 5 games. Lacazette, decent as well. Too many assists, you would hope, then for a 4, but 0.51. On pens, 3 goals. And then Jimenez as well. Probably slightly disappointing the season for him. 0.34 is not a wildly exciting XGI. And we'll go through other alternatives in a minute. But for me, at home to Leeds, I think on pens, difficult to dismiss him. I do quite like him. So, having a look at the side in its entirety then. It's not an expensive side. 101.7 should be within anyone's range that. The couple of things do worry me about it. Leicester seem to be heavily rotating. They've got that Europa Conference League as well. So what sort of side will they put out for that? Who will they then rest? They don't seem to be in range or have a lot to play for in the Premier League. So again, the likes of Maddison and Thomas are a worry to me. But I do have enough cover on the bench. But as you can see, what I would, again, absolutely totally up to you. If I had this side, I think Cresswell would go on the bench. Controversial, I'm leaving Coutinho on the bench there, and then Lacazette as well. Easily and absolutely understandably. I'm not saying I'd set for this, absolutely. I could easily put Lacazette in instead of Jimenez. I could easily bring Coutinho instead of Rafinha maybe, and Cresswell instead of Thomas. I just don't see West Ham, if I'm honest, keeping a clean sheet at Tottenham. But who knows? They certainly could. You got the money, you could upgrade. So we can have a look at a few other options as well for you. Other options, Odegaard possibly come into that midfield if you want to. If you didn't like the Leicester options, if Maddison was a worry rotation-wise, definitely Odegaard could come in. Martinelli's been playing well. He got an assist. Barnes, keep an eye on him. With Vardy out, he could be playing very high up and he's been chipping in with a few goals. So again, if he's not involved in Europa Conference, he could be one that could come into the starting lineup. But I just don't like it. It's just so risky with those Leicester assets at the moment, I feel. And Kulusevski is another one you could bring in. You don't have a full complement of Tottenham players, so Kulusevski could definitely be an option. Other players that you could look at as well, Reguilón, bringing in maybe Cresswell, Reguilón instead of Cresswell. Don't mind that. Bamford, you could go for Bamford. He started the last game. He could definitely be an option. Again, don't know if he's on pens. Away at Wolves, yeah, quite tight. Tony, he's on form. Pens, as we know, the main man, scoring goals. Away at Leicester, who don't keep many clean sheets. So that is a possibility, absolutely. And I'll put Dan James in there. He's been playing quite far forward as well. Nailed on that lead side. Bit of a differential. And that's one thing I like about the free hit side as well. They're all quite a high amount of differentials in this side. So you could go there. Okay, so that is the possibility of the team lining up. Like I said, we've got a number of options. I certainly wouldn't even mind if you wanted to go Schmeichel over Sarr. We'll have a look at my side just as an example now to look at hits. Sarr I've got in goal. I know Kilman will probably play. Davis, Ramsey, Son, Saka, Kane. Unfortunately, I've got situations where Hwang came off after 13 minutes. Digne came off after 9 minutes. Even Broca, who I know is not part of my side, came on in and went off again. Salah is a doubt as well. So I'm left in a position where I think I'm pretty comfortable that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 outfield players that will definitely play. I'm doing 6 players and a keeper. I've got 1 free transfer. So I would definitely be looking to take one of those Newcastle players out. I'm not looking to keep them longer term. Digne, I'd like to keep, but I need more news on how long he's going to be out. It certainly looks like he'll be out for this week. Hwang, I'm still hopeful that he will feature against Leeds, but I'm in a position where it's really annoying that I've had a number of injuries. Obviously, Reece James as well. I set up. The plan was always game week 28, wild card set up, hit some of those double game weeks, and then set up as well for this game week 30 to get through it with that free hit. And injuries had just scuppered that. I mean, Digne coming off on 9 minutes, Hwang after 13 was a real blow. Salah, I can kind of live with because everyone's got him, so we're all in the same boat. But who do you bring in is my question. If I don't free hit, and I'm really against free hitting because the long-term strategy has always been get through game week 30 without it, is who do you bring in? That's the problem I got. I think Willock and Target would come out unsure about who to bring in. What I could do is bring Thomas in and Rafinha. So those are 2. So looking at the fixtures though, What I'm interested in is Arsenal have 3 fixtures to play. If I'm going to bring a player in for game week 30, and these are 6 of the sides that are playing in game week 30, he's going to be kept for longer term. The likes of Arsenal still have 3 games to rearrange, so I could certainly go for a Tierney, a Martinelli. I've already got a Saka. That's a possibility. He's going to be a defender or a midfielder, so that looks okay. Villa's fixtures just don't look that appealing, so I don't think I'd want to bring him in. Leicester, I'm unsure about the rotation. Good fixture against Brentford. I just don't know who's going to play. They do have a lot of games to rearrange, so you could go with Thomas, who looks fairly nailed on in defence, or a Marty. Then you've got a risk of playing someone like a Maddison. Again, you just don't know how many minutes. West Ham's fixtures look really nice. Everton at home, Brentford and Burnley, but they don't have any games to rearrange. Wolves, the fixtures, again, look fairly decent, but no games to rearrange. And then Tottenham do have 2 games to rearrange, and their fixtures look quite nice as well. But at the moment, I'm full up with Tottenham players already, so I can't bring any of those in. So any players that you are bringing in, you've got to bear in mind that you're going to be keeping them for the sort of, unless you've got a wild card to bring them out, you are going to be keeping them in for the longer term. So I'm looking at Leicester, but there's a worry about rotation. I mean, from a completely selfish FPL point of view, I think if they got knocked out to Rennes, that would be great. I know they've got no other distraction, but then Brendan Rodgers hasn't got a lot to play for in the league. Will he just start blooding some of the younger players? That's another option. Arsenal, obviously full-blown, going for that game week, going for that 4th spot. So it looks like, for me, they would be a safer option, or even Wolves, but they don't have the games to rearrange. If you think in the last 8 weeks, Arsenal potentially having 3 extra games, they look far more appealing. And Martinelli in midfield, I'll be doubling up on him and Saka, possibly a Tierney at the back. I would go for out of that back 4. White if it's going to be cheap. But they look like the ones to go for. That's it for this one then, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you are free hitting. If you're not free hitting, how many players do you think are acceptable to get out for this game week? What's your longer term plan? Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, because we might have a deadline stream coming out on Friday where any tweaks to the free hit we'll look into. In the meantime, best of luck with the rest of game 29, and I shall speak to you soon.